Servus Leute, willkommen zurück zu Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc. Ja, der Klassenprozess findet statt. Ich werde ihn wahrscheinlich wieder komplett aufnehmen und Zwischenschnitte setzen. So, was habe ich denn alles? Ja, diese Skills. Ach komm, ich glaube, ich lasse das alles. Handbuch, ja, das können wir später angucken. Legen wir los. Oh, jetzt gibt's wieder gute Musik.
Let's begin with a basic explanation of the class trial. So, your votes will determine the results. If you can figure out who done it, then only they will receive punishment. But if you pick the wrong one, then I'll punish everyone besides the blackened, and the one that deceived everyone else will graduate. Okay, well, I'll leave the rest up to you.
Well then, let's discuss the specifics of the victim. First, we need to clarify who exactly the unidentified victim is.
It's Kyoko. There's no other explanation.
But Kyoko's standing right there.
No, that's a ghost!
But she has legs and stuff.
Well, that's just because she's like the latest evolution in ghost technology.
There's a limit to how much ridiculousness I can tolerate.
Okay. So I just have to prove that the corpse isn't Kyoko, right? Then let's compare Kyoko's traits to the traits of the dead body.
Her traits?
Ja, also dieser Dingens hier ist echt doof. Ja. Nee, Handschuhe, oder?
I got it! I'm talking about her gloves. They'll give us some insight into the mystery. I'm sure of it.
In that case, I think it would be helpful if someone explained why she actually wears those gloves.
And would you happen to know the answer?
In fact, Monokuma told me. Apparently you have scars on your hands you don't want anyone to see.
Du bist so ein behindertes Arschloch, ich fass es nicht. Oh Gott, der plaudert es auch noch aus. Oh, ich ertrag diesen Byakuya langsam nicht mehr. Ich hoffe, das Spiel ist bald vorbei. Nee, das Spiel macht richtig Spaß, ganz im Ernst. Aber Byakuya... Oh, ich würde mir so sehr wünschen, dass er stirbt. Ich hoffe, niemand sonst stirbt so sehr wie er.
Oh, you know, now that I think about it, the corpse wasn't wearing any gloves, right?
They probably just got burnt up in the explosion. I'm not convinced. The ghost is just trying to fool us all.
Ah, Hiro, warum bist du so ein Trottel manchmal? Ja, die Leiche ist auf jeden Fall nicht Kyoko, das weiß ich. Ich kann nicht beweisen, warum. Wir stecken hier wohl fest und ich komme nicht voran. Ich habe einfach keine andere Wahl. Als Dreh um Dreh. Die Musik in diesem Prozess ist echt geil. Okay, das Tattoo. Nee. Falsche Nägel. Wie ging denn das jetzt nochmal? Das ist jedes Mal so lange her, dass ich immer vergesse. Okay, erstmal Durchgang. Das ist Slow Motion. Das ist Fast Forward.
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion.
Then she was wearing gloves before the explosion.
Well, yeah, she must have been wearing gloves. Because that corpse is absolutely Kyoko.
This entire discussion is idiotic.
Ja. Moment, ich muss mal gucken, wie ich die...
That Kyoko there is just a ghost.
Welche Taste war's? Die... Tattoo?
Okay, then prove it. Prove she's not a ghost.
The dead body wasn't wearing...
They got burnt up in the explosion.
Nee, also ich glaube, ich muss Yasuhiro irgendwie verhindern. Okay, das ist Slow Motion.
Well, yeah. She must have been wearing gloves.
Aha. Bla bla bla. Ja, ich verstehe gerade nicht, was...
That Kyoko there is just a ghost.
Falsche Nägel. Tattoo auf der rechten Hand.
Okay, then prove it. Prove she's not a ghost.
Explodierte Körperanalyse.
The dead body wasn't wearing gloves.
They got burnt up in the explosion.
Then she was wearing gloves before the explosion.
Well, yeah, she must have been wearing gloves. Cause that corpse
Is absolute. This entire discussion is idiotic.
Ja, ich muss mal gucken.
that Kyoko.
There is just impossible.
Okay, then prove it. Prove she's not a ghost.
The dead body was...
So.
They got burnt up in the explosion.
Then she was wearing gloves before the explosion.
Well,
Ich verstehe gerade nicht, was ich hier machen muss.
shoot. That Kyoko there is just a ghost.
Ich glaube wohl kaum, dass die falschen Nägel was damit zu
The
tun
dead body
haben.
wasn't where they got burnt up in the explosion. She was wearing
Die
gloves.
Stimmen.
Well, yeah.
Ah, die falschen Nägel. Die waren's. Aber was haben das mit den Handschuhen zu tun?
No, there's no way the corpse was wearing gloves. Whoever it was, they were wearing fake nails, remember? I imagine trying to wear gloves over nails like that would have been a pretty big pain. Besides, Kyoko wears gloves to hide her hands, right? It'd be pretty weird for someone who's self-conscious about their hands to wear fake nails, don't you think?
Jeez, man, you don't know women, huh? They're complicated like that.
If anyone doesn't know women, it's you.
Well, Kyoko, any thoughts?
These gloves were custom made to the size of my hands to make sure they don't interfere with my daily life. If I wore fake nails, the gloves wouldn't fit properly.
Then that's that. The dead body doesn't belong to Kyoko.
Which should have been obvious since she's standing right here.
Okay, so then, who's the real victim? First, we need to figure that out.
That's the first thing I said. You're the one who's been dragging us around in circles.
Mir ist gerade aufgefallen, ich kann ja hier zwischendurch immer das hier machen. Das heißt, ich kann doch zwischendurch speichern. Das heißt, ich muss nicht eine fette Aufnahme machen. Okay, bevor wir überhaupt mit irgendwas anfangen, brauchen wir die Identität des Opfers. Wahrscheinlich ist es diese Mukuro Ikusawa. Was anderes würde mir eben nicht einfallen. Außer dem Tattoo auf der Hand und so. Sprinkleranlage? Nee, Tattoo auf der rechten Hand, genau. Das brauche ich.
If Kyoko really is still
Huh?
alive, then who died?
So.
There's gotta be some way to figure it out. I don't think so. The face was scorched beyond recognition. And there wasn't any description in the Monokuma file.
Leon, da links.
Well, if we can't identify...
So. Das war easy.
There was one clue left behind that we can use to identify the body.
What? For real? If you're lying, he'll die a cruel and unusual death.
Cruel and unusual death. This I gotta see.
She's just being stupid. Ignore them, Makoto. Tell us what you're talking about.
The key to figuring out who it was is the tattoo on the back of her hand.
Oh, yeah. The design's pretty strange, huh? Is this a dog? Her master must have made her get it. To be like, you're my bitch.
Seriously? They really did something that humiliating?
No, that's not it. The identity of the victim is hidden within that tattoo.
Oh, really?
Ja. Okay, schauen wir mal. Wo ist dieses Dokument? Da.
I got it! The Fenrir Mercenary Corps. That's the name of the military group Mukuro Ikusawa belonged to.
Okay, so...
To show that they're a member of the team, each soldier that joins the squad would get a tattoo representing Fenrir somewhere on their body.
Das Symbol, das Fenrir repräsentiert, ist ja, ein Wolf. Naja, Hund. Hund, Wolf. Sowas eben. Okay, Hangman-Spiel. Dog. Nee. Ja, Wolf. Das ist easy.
Now I understand.
Aber gut, Wölfe sind ja quasi mein
The
Spezialgebiet.
representation of
Tust.
Fenrir is a wolf.
Fenrir, the Wolf of Ragnarok. It's from Norse mythology. A huge, world-ending wolf beast. He's the child of the trickster god Loki, and a female giant.
Man, after all this time, we finally got a glimpse of the literary all-star.
A wolf tattoo. And that means...
Exactly. The body we found had a tattoo of a wolf, which means that person must have once belonged to Fenrir. So it must have been Mukuro.
What?
Hold on. Isn't she the one that was behind this whole thing?
You sound surprised, but you're absolutely right. Yes, indeed. The trial this time is to solve the murder of Mukuro Ikusaba.
Are you saying the mastermind is dead? And now we have to have a true last trial?
No. It means we were wrong in thinking that Mukuro was the mastermind at all.
But I mean, being the ultimate despair seems like a pretty mastermindy title to me.
Maybe we shouldn't have been thinking of her as the ultimate despair in the first place. After all, looking at her profile, I didn't see anything that would fit such a description. All it said was that she was the ultimate soldier. If I remember correctly, that other information came from Kyoko. That's what you told Makoto, right?
So that means Kyoko got it wrong?
Who was she? Who was Mukuro Ikusaba? She's been gone this whole time? And when she finally turns up, she gets killed.
Usually when there's a scene where an important character dies, it has a lot more detail.
So you're saying she wasn't an important character? Which would mean she was the same as us. Just another participant.
Then who's the real mastermind?
It must have been the Hope's Peak Academy headmaster after all.
No, the headmaster has nothing to do with it.
But how can we trust that? We already know your information about Mukuro was wrong.
My information was not wrong.
Okay. We're in the middle of a trial right now. Figuring out who killed Mukuro is first and foremost. Please limit all future prattle, chatter, and chit-chat as much as possible.
Fine. Uncovering the identity of the mastermind will have to wait. But remember this. No matter what happens, we will find out who you really are. I stake my family name on it.
I have officially decided to completely ignore all such attempts at provocation. Now then, just so nobody's confused, let me state this one more time for the record. The reason we're having a class trial is because a murder among the students has taken place. Hammer that point straight into your big ol' brains!
What you're saying is that both the victim and the culprit are part of the student body?
Then, one of us killed Mukuro?
Wait, no! There's a chance that there's some mystery 17th person who's been hiding all along!
Nope. There are only 16 students in total that have been taking part in these events.
Seriously? Then one of us killed Mukuro?
Who did it? Who's the killer this time?
Get a hold of yourself. We've already narrowed down the list of possible suspects. I'm sure you realize who I'm talking about, right, Makoto? Who the evidence points to?
Ich könnte... Naja, und Monokuma bindet sich in diesem Prozess auch ziemlich seltsam. Ja, Makoto und Kyoko.
I got it! You've narrowed it down to Kyoko and me, right?
Why do you say that?
Allow me to explain. Just after nighttime last night, I went to the garden, so I can confirm that at that point, there was no dead body there. So, the murder must have taken place after I left the garden. However, Hiro, Toko, Hina, and I were in the gym the entire time.
The gym?
That's right. The four of us were there trying to dismantle Monokuma. The whole time, we were very careful not to go anywhere alone. We even went to the bathroom in pairs. All of which is to say, the four of us all have alibis. The only ones without alibis
Are me and Makoto. That's why you're able to narrow down the list of suspects.
exactly so.
Ja, die einzigen beiden sind ich und Makoto. Kyoko. Verdammt. Ich kann das so nicht stehen lassen. Ich muss meinen Namen reinwaschen.
I have something I'd like to say regarding the whole alibi thing.
Are you thinking of raising an objection?
Well, before that, I just want to try and get a better idea of what time the murder took place. Doing that might reveal some kind of clue.
Whatever you want. Somebody go ahead and help him out.
Me and Byakuya can both confirm that the body wasn't in the garden at... Well, it was after nighttime for sure. I'd say it must have been around 10 o'clock. So the murder must have happened after 10 p.m.
Then I guess we can say the time frame for the murder was between then and when we found the body? Oh, but what time did we find the body?
The one who saw the body first was Toko, right? And she went to go get the pickaxe.
Ja, wann hat sie gesagt? 9 Uhr, genau.
The body must have been discovered at 9 a.m., since that's when Toko went to get the pickaxe.
He's right. It had to be around then.
So we can be totally sure the murder happened sometime between 10 at night and 9 in the morning.
For me, I was already asleep before nighttime hit, so I don't have an alibi after 10 o'clock. But I'm sure I met up with everyone else before 9 this morning.
We ran into each other in the dining hall, right? That was around... Oh yeah! Right around 7:30. I remember checking right before I went in, so I'm totally sure about it.
Which means from 10 p.m. to 7:30 a.m., you don't have an alibi.
Ja, der Mord muss irgendwann zwischen 10 Uhr abends und 9 Uhr morgens stattgefunden haben. Und ich habe kein Alibi zwischen 10 Uhr abends und 7:30 Uhr morgens. Okay, dann sieht's aus, als ob das Spiel begonnen hätte. Wenn ich kein Alibi für diese Zeit habe. So, er muss beweisen, dass der Mord in anderer Zeit stattfand, oder wie? Ja, um das herauszufinden, muss ich feststellen, wann der Körper überhaupt in den Garten gekommen ist. Ja, das mit der Sprinkleranlage irritiert mich noch. Ja, die Sprinkleranlage. Wahrscheinlich ist das, was ich jetzt brauche.
We've established a time frame for the murder. It took place somewhere between 10 o'clock at night
And 9 o'clock.
Yep, and Makoto doesn't have...
Yeah, from 10 to 7:30.
That's more than enough time to commit murder, I should think. So Makoto, if you have any objections, now would be the time.
Da bin ich wirklich aufgepasst. Moment nochmal. Was war's? Egal. Nochmal.
We've established a time frame for the murder. It took place somewhere between 10 o'clock at night and 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yep, and Makoto doesn't have an alibi for most of that time.
Yeah, from 10 o'clock to 7:30.
Ja, ich wollte es mal versuchen. Bla bla bla.
We've established a time frame for the murder. It took place somewhere between 10 o'clock at night and 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yep, and Makoto doesn't have an alibi for most of that time.
Yeah, from 10 o'clock
Wie schalte ich nochmal?
to 7:30.
That's more than enough time to commit murder, I should think. So Makoto, if you have any objections, now would be the time.
Ich muss mal gucken, was Makoto sagt. Ja, da gibt es etwas, das sich... Ja, die Sprinkleranlage. Der Körper war total trocken, ja. Die Frage ist nur, was muss ich damit abknallen? Ich knall einfach alles ab. So, erst er hier. So.
No, it's wrong. Actually, the murder couldn't have happened anywhere near 10 o'clock. It had to have taken place way later.
And what makes you say that?
Because of the sprinklers in the garden. The sprinklers are set to go off right at 7:30 every morning, right? So if the body had been in the garden before 7:30, then it should have been completely soaked.
Oh, hold on. I remember this part perfectly. The body was wet. Dripping wet, in fact.
Sorry, Toko, but you're wrong.
I'm wrong? How? Are you saying only the mouth down south was wet? How dare you spew such indecent words!
No, I'm saying that the body was wet, but not because of the sprinklers.
What do you mean? By denying the sprinkler, are you trying to deny my entire existence?
Man, you're totally wacko.
If you really think it wasn't the sprinkler, you'd better tell us why!
Ja, ich muss beweisen, dass das nicht die Sprinkleranlage war, warum der Körper nass ist. Ja, das ist, weil er gelöscht wurde, weil es gebrannt hat. Nicht Kyoko. Toko. So, sowas wieder. Wie ging denn das jetzt nochmal?
I admit nothing. No, no, no!
So.
Stop! Are you trying to blame me? I admit nothing. No, no, no! That's enough!
So in etwa.
Are you trying to blame me? I admit nothing. I'm right about this. I admit nothing.
Ich kann's nicht.
No, no, no! No!
So, ich hab sie platt gemacht.
How can you say
Attacke!
Prove it?
Er reißt die Zöpfe aus.
Just remember what the body was like after the explosion, and you'll see why it wasn't the sprinklers. The top half of the body was wet, yes, but the bottom half was completely dry. If the sprinklers got the body wet, shouldn't the whole body have been wet?
So they only got the top wet? The bottom was completely dry? What a brutal maniac!
I'm so sick of her.
Let's just move on. The reason only the top half was wet was because while the body was still on fire, I doused it with water. But only the part on fire, the top half.
Oh, then I guess the sprinklers really didn't do it.
So if the sprinklers didn't get the body wet, then the murder must have taken place sometime after the sprinklers turned on at 7:30 in the morning.
Which means she must have been killed sometime between then and when the body was discovered at 9.
But Makoto's alibi was only missing from 10 o'clock last night to 7:30 this morning, right?
So there's no way Makoto could have done it. I guess you had an alibi after all. Good for you.
In which case, the only one left without an alibi is Kyoko.
Ja, Kyoko ist die einzige ohne Alibi. Das bedeutet, dass sie Murukos Mörderin ist? Nein, ich weigere mich, das zu glauben. Kyoko sollte jemanden ermordet haben, das...
I'd just like to say one thing. If you vote for me, and I die here, the mystery of this school will stay hidden forever. Which is why I can't let that happen.
So are you saying you're not the culprit?
Of course I'm not. I have no reason to kill anyone. This is a trap the mastermind has laid for us.
A trap?
We're this far into the game and now you decide to blame me? Stop wasting time! Stop wasting energy! You really think your little trick is gonna work?
Shut up, you!
You got it, boss! Shutting up now!
Anyway, Kyoko, you actually did have a reason to kill her.
Huh?
She thought Mukuro was the ultimate despair. In other words, the mastermind behind everything. So she killed her to try and put a stop to all this. Isn't that right, Kyoko? But you made one catastrophic mistake. Mukuro wasn't the mastermind at all. And as a result, we were forced into another trial. Something I'm sure you weren't at all expecting.
So, that was her motive?
If she had a motive and no alibi, well then, I think think it's pretty clear Kyoko's gotta be the culprit.
Das will mir irgendwie nicht so gefallen.
I'm not the only one without an alibi. Makoto's explanation is still insufficient.
Huh?
The sprinklers didn't get the body wet, but that doesn't mean the murder happened when he said it did.
What are you...
Because you see, there is a way the body could have avoided getting wet.
Interesting. I'm listening.
All it would take is covering the body with a certain something to keep it from getting wet.
Oh, ich glaube, ich weiß, was sie meint. Die Decke, oder? Also hier diese Abdeckplane, was das ist.
I got it! You're talking about the tarp, aren't you?
You catch on quick. You're right. All you'd have to do is cover the body with the tarp, and that'd take care of the water. In fact, that's exactly what the killer did. The dirt pattern on the tarp can attest to that. Only one side of the tarp got dirty, because that's the side that got covered in water. The side that faced down over the body, meanwhile, kept perfectly clean. This proves that the killer used the tarp to keep the body from getting soaked.
But why would they go to all that effort just to keep the body from getting wet?
Most likely so they could cloud the issue of when the murder actually took place. In other words, to create an excuse exactly like the one Makoto just gave us.
Was? Die beschuldigt mich? Warum sollte Kyoko sowas sagen? Warum möchte sie mich als Killer darstellen? Nein. Ich kann darüber jetzt nicht nachdenken. Diese Abdeckplane. Wenn sie genauso benutzt wurde, wie Kyoko es gesagt hat. Dann muss diese Plane die Körper berührt haben, richtig? Aber das Blut. Achso, deswegen das dick so.
Something's not right.
And what might that be?
Kann mich nicht darüber sorgen über Kyokos Motivation. Wenn ich nichts mache, dann werde ich hier als Killer dargestellt. Ja, ich muss das widerlegen, was Kyoko gesagt hat. What's needed on me before the explosion? Before the explosion, oder?
By covering the body with the tarp, the killer prevented it from getting wet.
So, erstmal gucken.
The reason the tarp was only dirty on one side was the sprinkler got that side wet.
But the underside of the tarp, it was totally spotless, right?
It's because that side was protected from the water. Since it was facing down toward the body, of course it didn't get dirty.
Heißt das, ich muss jetzt das widerlegen, was Kyoko gesagt hat? Ich erinnere mich an das Blut auf dem Körper, noch nicht getrocknet ist. Yako hat uns sogar gewarnt, dass wir es nicht anfassen. Und dass das Blut nicht an uns kommt.
By covering the body with the tarp, the killer prevented it from getting wet.
So the reason the tarp was only dirty on one side is because the sprinkler got that side wet.
Ich muss erst mal gucken.
But the underside of the tarp, it was totally spotless, right?
Währenddessen knall ich hier Dinge ab.
It's because that side was protected.
Irgendwie habe ich es gerade verkackt. Und ich glaube, ich werde es noch mehrfach verkacken.
By covering the body with the tarp, the killer prevented it from getting wet.
So the reason the tarp was only dirty on one side or got that side wet.
But the underside of the tarp, it was totally spotless, right?
It's because that side was protected from the water.
Moment, das, was er sagt, das stimmt ja.
Since it was facing down toward the body, of course it didn't get dirty.
Nee. Ich werde verrecken, ich weiß.
By covering the body with the tarp,
So, ich werde jetzt aber... Ups, falsche Taste. Nein, wieder falsche Taste.
the killer
Wieder
prevented
falsch.
it from getting wet.
Kann ich hier nicht das Menü öffnen?
So the tarp was only dirty on one side
Ah, verdammt. Ja, ja, da muss ich jetzt verrecken.
By covering the body with the tarp, the killer prevented it from getting wet.
So the reason the tarp was only dirty on one side was the sprinkler got that side wet.
Ich will den Part beenden,
But
hallo.
the underside of the tarp, it was totally spotless, right?
It's because that's...
Ja, war klar, aber es ist mir gerade egal. Bla 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 bla.
Shoot!
Oh nein, ich sterbe. Failed, ja, weiß ich. Niemand glaubt mir. Was? Nee, will ich nicht. Too bad.
Is this...
Nee, es ist nicht vorbei.
I refuse to give up yet!
Ja, schneller.
By covering the body with the tarp,
Ja, ja. Red nur weiter, Kyoko. Ich werde jetzt hier einen Schnitt machen. Das war Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc. Ich hoffe, es hat euch gefallen und wir sehen uns das nächste Mal wieder. Pfiat euch.